Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to be talking about how to start transitioning. This is a video that I wish was around when I was starting my transition because I think it would have made my, start to my transition a lot easier. It would have gone a little bit smoother because a lot of these things I didn't know and it was kind of just figure it out as you go along. So I want to pass down my knowledge to you guys so I can maybe make your transitions a little bit easier than mine was. If you guys are new to my channel, do not forget to subscribe. The button will be down there, and give the video a big thumbs up. And if you guys are new to transitioning and you're a male to female transgender woman, then definitely stay tuned for some of my advice on how to start transitioning. You guys know me. I really like to just sit down. I don't like to plan videos out. I like to sit down, film it, and whatever comes to mind just comes out of my mouth. And this video was a little bit different. I sat down on the couch last night and I was like, you know what? I really want to create kind of a rubric and to figure out what I wanted to talk about because I didn't want to miss anything. I really wanted this to be as informative as it possibly can. So I have a list on my phone of things I really want to mention in this video. So if you maybe are curious about another topic that I didn't touch in this video, definitely leave it down in the comments below because I really want to make sure that I'm giving you guys exactly what you are looking for. So I can do a part 2 to this if I don't cover all the topics that you specifically are looking for. The first thing that I want to talk about that's going to really jumpstart your transition is your name. And this is something that took me 3 years to figure out. So I had known I was transgender for years prior to actually transitioning. I took that time to look for a name and I looked through baby books. I really honestly tried my best to find a name that I felt comfortable being called, something that seemed just natural to me. My first tidbit of advice is to research names. Like I said, I went and looked in baby books and just really went through the list and I was like, you know what, does this name sound good? Does this name sound good? And honestly, it is definitely going to take you some time figuring that out. The other thing is start having your family and friends call you by the names that you're trying out because the only way you're really going to get used to a name or you're going to be able to test it out and see if it works for you is actually being called this specific name. So try it out with your family and friends. I think that's the one thing I did not do. I tried it out with a couple of my friends, but it really just took me a really long time to soul search and really find that name that I was looking for. Even though it's very close to my dead name, it just something about it just really spoke to me and it was like, you know what, this is it. This is the name that makes me feel comfortable. This is the name that I can be envisioned being called the rest of my life and it just makes me feel like me. Once you figure out what your name is going to be, changing it legally is probably the hardest process of the whole name change scenario. It took me probably 4 or 5 months to have it legally changed through the court system. And this is something I've gotten questions on. And I did do a video on this and I will link it up here somewhere for you guys to check out. I'm not sure how in depth I went with the process because that video was filmed a very long time ago. But how I did it was I went to my courthouse, wanted to petition for a name change. So you went through all of that. The court had to, get it to a judge and it's, I don't know the full legal process of it. I just know I had to go to the courthouse. I know that I had to have a couple different paperworks. I had to have my original birth certificate. I think I had to have a letter from my endocrinologist who prescribes me hormones. I'm not really sure what else I had to have, but I know that it was a bitch to do and it took 4 months. I was calling every single week. I was like, okay, is my name change done yet? Is my name change done yet? Because all I wanted to do was take that court paperwork and go straight to the DMV. So once my name was legally changed through the court system, I did get the court order and I had my letter from my doctor and I went to the DMV and they changed everything. They changed the sex, my name, everything, and they took a new picture. They took a new picture also. And then the rest is history. I know that some states your sex won't be changed until you have had SRS, but I know that that's changing a lot now because people are opting out of SRS and they still want their gender to match what they look like. So I'm not really sure. You're going to have to research the state that you're in's, laws and policies against that. I just know personally for me, my license is my name and gender is female. The second tip that I have is shedding your male identity. And this is really difficult. This was probably the hardest thing I had to do in my transition so far, was really kind of letting go of that version of myself to step into this version. And for years, if you guys, have been subscribers of mine for a long time, I was, openly transgender, but I also kept my facial hair. And that was the hardest part for me to let go, because that was my last, step in my male identity. And it was scary. It's a scary leap of faith to jump from, male to female, because for me personally, I was very nervous that people were going to, be like, oh my God, that's a man in a dress, or that's a man in makeup, that's a this, that's a that. I was very afraid of that. And I'm sure for the first year or two, that's exactly what people said. I'm, hand to God, people probably still say it now. But I feel a lot more comfortable now. I feel like I pass more now, and hormones definitely have changed my body. So what I really suggest you do is go on a shopping spree. Take a girlfriend, take your mom, take anybody who is close to you that you would feel comfortable doing some shopping with, and just pick up a couple of things. I'm not saying do everything crazy and buy most extreme things and change from one day to the next, fully male to female. I think taking it gradually makes you feel comfortable, and it really helps the rest of everybody else kind of adjust to your transition. So how I started was, I slowly started to, buy only girl jeans. And I was kind of wearing these just like plain not tank tops. I was wearing these plain t-shirts from H&M. And they were very gender neutral, so I would wear those tank tops and girl jeans, and I was buying like girl shoes at the time. Like, honestly, that really didn't change at all, because I was wearing like heels way before it. And makeup, I was experimenting in makeup long before my transition, so it's a lot easier for me to kind of, transition into that, because I was already wearing makeup full time all the time. Like, didn't matter, boy, girl, whatever, like I still always wore makeup. So if you are someone who is really transitioning from male, like always presented as male, and changing to female, makeup is definitely going to be an experience. I do have a couple videos on my channel personally for makeup. I will leave it up here for you guys to check out if you guys maybe didn't see any of those videos. I want to do more. I definitely want to, kind of give you guys a beginner's guide to makeup for trans women. I feel like that's the hardest part. Going into the drugstore, going into Sephora, going into Ulta, and really honestly not knowing what to do and where to go and what to get is probably just as scary as transitioning. The next thing in shedding your male identity is telling your close family and friends that you are transitioning. This is scary. You are not really sure how someone is going to react. I have had only positive reactions in my family. I've never had anyone disown me for being transgender. My family and friends, I've lost nobody, but that's a positive story. There are not that many positive stories. There's a lot of people who get thrown out of their house. There's a lot of people who get disowned. There are a lot of negative stories about coming out as transgender. You need to be able to tell people, because if someone doesn't want to be in your life because you're transgender, or because your hair is dark, or you have big feet, you know what I mean, then they don't need to be in your life. And that's something that really has taken me a couple of years to realize. But if someone does not want to be there in your life for you, regardless of what that means, unconditionally, then they don't need to be there. And step 3 is going to be hormone. I think this is the step everybody wants to run to when they start to transition, but there are a lot of things I think you should do before starting hormones, because hormones are a very big deal. They are, life-changing. They change the way you think, they change the way you look, they change the way you perceive things. And I really think it's good to have all of your ducks in a row and really make sure that this transition is what you want, and making sure that you are transgender, because there are a lot of people who have experimented and they're like, you know what, I think I'm transgender, and then end up detransitioning. And there's nothing wrong with that, but I think the whole detransitioning thing really does give trans people a bad stigma. And I'm not saying that to be mean. I just think that it really gives those religious people the right to be like, you know what? See, I told you, you being transgender is just a phase, and I know that detransitioners do not do that purposely, but I'm just saying, I think really thinking this through, because this is a life-changing decision. Once, you transition, obviously you can transition back, but it should be a lifelong goal. How I got on hormones is I did it all myself. I found out where took my insurance. I went to my primary care physician and I explained to them, hi, I'm transgender. I'm looking to start hormones. I would like to be prescribed to an endocrinologist. The reason I knew where to get hormones was because I did a ton of research before. Research is probably your best friend when it comes to transitioning. I do research probably every single day when it comes to transitioning about surgeries, about hormones, about things that your body can do, like now being a trans woman. So it's just, research was my best friend. They gave me a referral, and within a couple of months, I went and saw the endocrinologist. I explained to him the situation, that I was transgender. I am, very sure of this. This is something I've known for a very long time. And I'm wanting to transition from male to female, and I would like to be prescribed hormones. And blood work is something you will get used to, because I get blood work done probably every 3 to 4 months, because my doctor is always on top of checking my levels to make sure that, my body is functioning fine, because some of the medications like spironolactone, which is a testosterone blocker, can have some really negative side effects on your body. A lot of people, myself included, when I started transitioning, were, waiting for the changes on hormones. Like, okay, when are my hips going to widen? When are my boobs going to get bigger? When am I going to feel, all of those changes? And it takes a while. I am 4 years in on hormones, and I think I still see changes all the time. So really just wait it out and take these mile markers and be proud of everything you accomplished during them. I briefly want to mention the last one, which is surgery. And surgery is up to everybody's discretion. There are trans people who decide not to have any surgeries at all, never to have a breast augmentation, never to have gender reassignment surgery, and that's fine. I personally have decided to have any surgery in the book. I had a breast augmentation. I'm going to be having sex reassignment surgery. I may or may not end up having facial feminization surgery. I kind of go back and forth with that all the time, but it's not something that I'm like, need it right now. So I kind of just take my time with that decision, because once I alter my face, you can't go back. So surgery is one of those things that I would research the doctors a lot, check reviews, check to see if there's any malpractice suits against these doctors. Doing your research is really going to help. Don't run out and think that you see these girls, these trans girls on Instagram, or, you're like, oh my God, these people are trans goals. Like I want to look like them. Every transition is different. You need to be a little bit more realistic when it comes to transitioning. I don't want to give any, false hope to someone out there who's going to transition thinking like, okay, yeah, I'm going to look exactly like you. Honestly, our bodies are very different. My bone structure is very different than your bone structure. Nikita Dragon's bone structure is very different than my bone structure. So you can't, take someone's transition and be like, that's transition goals, and then think you failed if you didn't make it there. Everyone's transition is very different, and I just want you to take that into consideration. Do not go spend $100,000 on every surgery in the book, unless that's something you want to do. Don't do that because you want to look like the next Instagram baddie, because honestly, that's not a healthy mindset to be in, because you will continue to have surgery because you'll never be happy. Trust me, I've went through this whole thing with myself. I'm like, you know what? I want every single surgery in the book. I want to look like an Instagram baddie and look like this and that. And honestly, I love the way that I look. It has taken me a very long time to, really look in the mirror and be like, damn, I love how she looks. But now I'm like, damn, girl, okay. I see. Okay, guys, that is all that I have for this video. I hope that you guys enjoyed. And do not forget to subscribe if you guys have not already. That button will be down there, and give the video a thumbs up. Do not forget to check out my last video. That'll be linked right here. Stay on the channel, have a couple laughs, learn a couple makeup techniques, and I will see you guys on my next video.